This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 8th year of talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, it's Alex, and this is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight from New York City. See it right below us there? We're doing this in a very special, interesting way. There's Steve Kravitz, right? Hi, Steve.
Hi, Alex. Hi, folks.
Yes, hi. How you? Oops, let me turn that down. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. We're having trouble with sound again.
See, here's what's happening. He's hearing me through the phone because he's not getting sound on his Zoom.
Right.
Which is, par for the course here. I mean, I have no idea why. We've tried everything. And it might be something in your computer, something isn't turned on or something that isn't allowing you to get the volume. So, because you can't.
Well, I turned everything on.
Yeah, you can't hear their test tone.
No.
So that means there's something that you're not doing. It's not doing it on your end. Is this your computer?
Yes.
And you know how to operate it, do you?
Kinda.
Because I'm used to people who have problems because they don't know what they're doing. And by the way, that echo, if you hear it, is that he's listening to me on the telephone.
Right. We're not in actual time. We're in delayed time.
Well, not in delayed time, but it's a little off, so whenever. So
how you doing, Alex?
How you doing? We're doing this on half Zoom today.
Right.
We got the picture, but he's not being able to hear the audio on his end. And we were trying everything possible. And he supposedly has volume coming out of his computer, but it's not he's not hearing it.
Right.
You probably should go back later and play with your computer and see if you can hear something off a website.
Oh, okay. Good. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Now I can't hear you.
Now I can hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Yep.
Wow. What was it all about? What did you do? What did you do?
I had the headphones plugged in.
Oh, my God. We just spent, how long? About 20 minutes trying to figure this thing out?
Right. And I just had the headphones plugged in.
Yeah. Well, I see. And that was cutting the speakers out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you learn by your mistakes, don't you?
Live and learn.
Live and learn. Yeah. So we solved that problem.
Yes.
It's an exciting. At least it's something exciting was happening here. That's something,
Right.
Yeah.
Something different.
Yeah. So what's new?
Nothing much. Still working. Still hoping to get back to California.
You say still hoping to get back to California. I haven't heard this come up.
Yeah, I'd like to get back there.
You'd like to move back there?
Right.
Yeah. Why did you move back to... Well, I mean, you probably like your hometown, right, of Worcester.
Right, that's where I grew up.
Massachusetts.
So I came home for family.
Yeah. So...
Like the other day, I went out to lunch with my brothers.
So that's great.
Right.
So, but you want to move back to California because you want to start having a career again.
Right, I want to start acting.
Well, yeah, there aren't many acting jobs in Massachusetts, let me put it that way.
No, there's none.
There's little theater, But that's not your idea of a good time. Your idea of a good time is doing a movie.
That's right.
Right? And I'll tell you, you got the look, you got a character.
Yeah.
Go for it. But
I hope to save enough money by the summer.
How much is it going to cost you to get out there?
I don't know. I haven't figured it all out yet.
Yeah. But if you don't take the chance, you'll regret it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that you didn't try.
Right.
And it's a nice thing to be able to try, you know. And if you fail, well, what's the worst that can happen to you? Starvation. Okay, that's the worst that can happen to you.
Well,
That and horrible diseases you can't cure because you don't have insurance. And well,
God.
let's not get into all of that. Okay.
Alex, for God's sakes, you got me dead and buried.
Yeah. Well, I have a physical problem today. What don't you have, Alex? I have a physical problem every day. But you know what I love? When you eat chicken, what is the best part of the chicken? I'm not talking drumstick or breast or whatever.
The skin.
Bingo, right? Why? Because the skin has all the taste,
Right.
right? You eat the skin? You love the skin,
Oh, yeah.
right? I peel the skin off. Well, anytime I eat skin, the next day I've got the trots. But it's one of those things that I love so much, I'm willing to suffer the trots.
You're a sick man, Mr.
Well, no,
Bennett.
and that's what I've got today. I mean, in the middle of this, I may have to put us on pause and run off to the bathroom. But it was great. The skin was terrific. But I knew, and Marjorie goes, "Don't eat it." She tries to steal it away from me. Don't eat that. You know what it
Right.
does to you, you know. And I'm going, leave me alone. You know, I'll
Right.
eat what I want to eat. And then some days I don't get the trots, but today I got them, and she's giving me the wifely, "I told you so."
Sure. That's her job.
That's her job, exactly. So you know, that's my problem for today. So, and yours was the earphone in the plug and whatever. But anyway, so you think you're going back to California maybe to do some acting or to try and get
Right.
into acting? How do you start? How do you start on something like that? You know, I mean, you go back, and what do? You gotta get an agent.
Well, I got a manager back there still.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
That's good. You know,
And he said he'd get me an agent.
so that's what's waiting for you out there.
Right. Right.
So you would have your manager,
right.
and then he would get you an agent, and then
Right.
and then you go off to auditions.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and that's good. And you know you've got a character. You got to you can play character roles very well. You got
Oh, yeah.
you got the voice for it. It's your voice is very character driven.
Is that right?
No, it sounds you have a characteristic voice. Okay. I think that if people saw you in a film, they'd remember your voice. Yeah, yeah. Look at who should be your agent. Anyway, no,
He should be my agent.
No, but I wouldn't do. You know why I wouldn't do that? I would hate to be a manager or an agent because I'm responsible for someone else's career.
Right.
And if I fail at doing what I'm doing, then he doesn't get work, and I've been a failure as a manager. And I don't think I would be a very good manager.
Well, the idea is, as a manager is to get your client in the position to get work, not necessarily to get them work. They have to get the work on their own.
Oh, that's true, but you have to put them in the seat in the audition for them to be
Right.
able, and I'd have to be able to get you an audition.
Right.
And I don't even know how to get on the phone and deal with these people. A professional knows how to. Hey, I got a
Right.
kid. I got a kid for you. You're gonna like him. Just listen to him. Just give him a chance, okay?
Right.
I'll send him right over. Yeah.
Right.
And you get yourself a good enough manager and who's well connected, and he can get you tons of auditions just because of who he is.
That's right.
In my case, I'm afraid to just call people. So I'd make a terrible manager, and I would not want to be responsible for your career.
You wouldn't want to do cold calls.
Oh God, cold calls. Cold calls were the bane of my existence. When I first started out in broadcasting, I go to radio stations and say, "You want to do some selling for us?" At these small little stations. "You want to sell time for us?" I go, no, not really. Well, give it a try. And then I would have to make cold calls. You walk into a store and say, hi, I'm Alex Bennett, and I'm from KTIM in San Rafael. And how would you like to buy some time? I couldn't do it. I was petrified. So cold calling is not my
forte.
My forte. No, not even close to my forte. So being responsible for somebody else's career, I think is. I know that some agents just don't give a shit. They just get you the work, and if you don't get the work, well, that's the way it is. I would feel terrible if I couldn't get you auditions and things like that. I would just, and your career was languishing because I couldn't do anything.
Right.
So I'd rather you deal with, some guy like Harvey Weinstein and get the work.
Nice example, Harvey Weinstein.
Well, let's talk about Harvey Weinstein for a moment. There are about a dozen actresses in Hollywood, whether they blew him or not, who have their careers because of Harvey Weinstein. Gwyneth Paltrow would be nothing today without Harvey Weinstein. Nothing. Well, she's nothing.
Is that right?
I think she's kind of nothing now, but yeah. I mean, he put her in Shakespeare in Love, and then he goes out and he pushes the movie, and he pushes her, and then he puts ads in the journal saying best actress, Gwyneth Paltrow, and so he, through his force of will, got her nominated, and he finally got her the Oscar. Well, what do you want? What's better?
There you go.
What's better than that? Now, Harvey Weinstein may have been just a creepy human being.
Horrible person.
He's been doing this for years. Listen, I sat up in San Francisco, and in the early years, I knew what Harvey Weinstein was about. I knew about the casting couch, and I wasn't even in Hollywood. It was like one of these open secrets that everybody knew.
Right.
Well, I got to go up and audition for Harvey in his room, and they go, don't go. Everybody knew. And that was for years and years and years. And I don't blame Harvey, because Harvey is just a horrible person and he can't help himself. But I do say, what about all you people who didn't say anything all those years?
Right.
There was even a joke at one Oscar, or maybe it was a Golden Globes, and maybe it was even Ricky Gervais, who made a joke about this and about Weinstein and him fucking women. He made a big joke about it, and it was just so open in Hollywood, and nobody did anything about it. And all of a sudden, one day, it's, Harvey Weinstein's been doing this all these years. Well, they could have stopped him years ago.
Right.
But they didn't. And
much like the priests.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Much like the priests, they could have stopped them years and years ago.
What Weinstein did was abominable, but there's another part of him that couldn't help himself. Well, if people had blown the whistle on him early, he could have helped himself.
Right.
And so I say that for all the, I get really mad when I see people who were in Weinstein films and made money off of Weinstein suddenly saying, oh, how horrible it was and blah, 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 Well, you knew, you were told by friends, don't go up to his room.
Right.
And I blame those people too. They're responsible, but nobody wants responsibility for this. So they go and they nail Weinstein, and of course he's in jail, and he should be. Anybody who acts with that kind of behavior should be, but he could have been stopped, and it was going on for years. Yeah, Cosby was going on for years. They knew about him drugging women. This was 20 years ago.
Cosby wants to go back on the road as a stand-up.
Yeah. Well, maybe a sit-down. He can't really walk that well. But the point I'm making is, these people did terrible things, but they could have been stopped earlier. And nobody did it because it wasn't trendy. It wasn't fashionable. And since when did being a decent human being and not putting people in uncomfortable positions suddenly become something that has to be fashionable? That you're gonna go get the guy on it, you know? I mean, all of a sudden, nobody complained about Harvey Weinstein for years, and this was going on for years. Some of these women are saying, 20 years ago, I was in, you know. All of a sudden, all the women come forward, all at once. Well, maybe it's because one of them got brave enough to do it, and the rest said, I think I can do it too. But I'm just saying, you know, there's a certain part of you that knows that, you know, you can just turn around and go, fuck you, I'm walking out of the room.
Right.
And he was a man of power, and yes, I agree that because of that power, they felt afraid to do that. But you have somewhat of a responsibility over your own fate, too.
Right, but he could make or break their careers.
Yeah. You know, and how many of the women who are now complaining about that they had to blow him or something like that, at the time had to make that decision and made the decision, well, I'll get a part if I blow Harvey. You know? And sometimes they got the part, other times they didn't. You know?
Right, those are the ones that are pissed off.
You know, Paltrow's come down on him, and she owes him for what paltry career Paltrow had. You know?
Right.
So, you know, I'm not sitting here defending Harvey on any level. What I'm doing is I'm going after the people who did nothing about him all those years.
Right.
You know, and all the women who had to suffer his indignity because they didn't speak up, because they didn't say, hey, this is wrong. Because, you know, certain people should have said, I don't want to do business with that man because of what he does to women.
That's right.
You know, and yet they did business with him. He was the most successful producer in Hollywood. You know. So
He had a lot of power.
Had a lot of power. A lot of power. And you don't get that kind of power unless people allow you to have it. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense? Yeah. So anyway. But, you know, go out there and make sure you don't have to blow Harvey Weinstein. That's all I'm saying to you. I would be very disappointed if you did. You know?
Yeah, so would I.
But, you know, I think you really do miss acting.
Yeah, I do.
You know, and that it's something that I've gone back and I've watched some of your stuff that I didn't watch, you know, simply because I wanted to see what my friend did all those years. Because when I looked, it was funny. The other day when we were talking here about what movies I went to IMDb, and I didn't realize how much you have on IMDb.
Right.
I mean, you know, I knew you from, you know, the Clint Eastwood film and a few other things that you did here and there. But at a certain point, you went down to Hollywood, and I wasn't paying as much attention.
Right.
Right? And I said, wow, you know, he really, when I looked at it, he really had quite a career. And there's no reason why you can't use that career and go back and make a second career for yourself. It's time.
Right.
It's time.
Right.
You know? It's time for you to do it. You're the ripe age for a comeback.
Right.
You know? All of a sudden, there's these people you don't hear of for years. They just disappear from view. And it's because they're still making movies, but nobody cares. Also, at some point, they might have changed agents, and so they're not getting the same parts they used to get. All right? Changing an agent can change everything. And you know, the comeback, I tell you, big comeback right now, Brendan Fraser.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, he, for many years, just kind of disappeared from view. He also gained a lot of weight, which he since looks like he's lost a lot of it. But just recently, they put him in a film that Darren Aronofsky did called The Whale, in which he plays a man who's 700 pounds and, you know, can't leave the house and is sedentary. And I haven't seen the film, but I hear he's really terrific in it. And they say he's going to get nominated for an Academy Award and probably will win it.
Oh, wow.
You know, so when you talk about comebacks, that's a perfect example of the comeback.
Right, no kidding.
Yeah. The question, I suppose, is were you out of the business because you wanted to be out of the business, or were you out of the business because of your problems? And your problems now are like 15 years ago, right?
Right.
You know, you're clean. When you go into a person's office and they say, why haven't you been working all these years? You say, well, you know, back then I had a drug thing, you know, but
Right.
that was 15 years ago and I'm still sober. They're gonna relate to that, you know. If that question comes up, don't volunteer it.
Right. Right.
But nobody's going to fault you because you were a drug addict and then all of a sudden 15 years ago you decided to clean up, you know, but then the work wasn't there.
17 years ago.
17 years ago. The other thing that you should think of is the fact that in those years you have matured. So you have a look.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to think, there's an actor you look like. I don't think they'll ever compare you to him. I'm trying to remember his name now. My mind is like Turturro, John Turturro.
Oh, really?
You kind of look like John Turturro. You know, yeah. Or you are when they say, get me a John Turturro type, you would probably be the first guy they would cast.
Right. Right.
See? So there you go. You know.
I'd be happy with that.
Well, it's for 5 stages of show business. Who's Alex Bennett? Hire Alex Bennett. Yes, we got to get Alex Bennett. Get me an Alex Bennett type. Who's Alex Bennett? You know, so those are the 5 stages of show business, you know.
Although I got recognized at Lowe's as being a stand-up comic from a customer.
Really?
He said, didn't you do stand-up?
What do you mean when you were in California?
Yeah, on TV and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And you said?
I said, yeah.
And he said, then the next question was, what are you doing?
What are you doing here?
What are you doing at Lowe's? Oh, boy. Yeah. I have a friend who is a real left-winger who works at, who's your competitor to Lowe's?
Home Depot.
Home Depot. And the other day you told me that Home Depot is right-wing.
Right.
And Lowe's is left-wing.
That's right.
And he is a very left-wing guy, and I forgot to tell him I heard that your company that you work for is a right-wing company. Do they suddenly make an announcement, hey, we're right-wing, we're left-wing?
No, I think it has to do with their practices.
As a company?
Right.
Practices like what? What would, you work at Lowe's, what do they do that's left-wing?
They hire all types of people, from gay to purple hair to you name it.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
you know, they hire all types and all ages.
But on the other hand, Home Depot won't?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not that familiar with Home Depot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's nice. It's nice that they hire people who want to express themselves.
Right.
You know, and you know, it sounds like you don't hate the job.
No, I don't. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
No, it's not. It's nothing that challenges you.
No.
You know, I have guys here working on this building. They're out on these, you know, the scaffoldings that go up and down. I don't know what they call them, planks or whatever. And they work all day clearing out the cement between the bricks and then putting in new cement.
They're not done yet?
No. They do the whole side of a building. They do another side of the building. They do another side of the building. And I'm thinking, I don't care how much that pays. You could never get me to do that.
Well, I'm afraid of heights, so there's no way you can get me to do that.
Me too. I could never do that. I go, how do those guys go up there? You know?
Right.
They just hang around up there. So I don't understand it.
How many stories is your building?
8. So
that's pretty high up.
They got to do 8 floors, half of the building. Then the other 8 floors on the side of the building. There are 4 sides in the courtyard. there are 4 sides on the outside. So they've been doing this. It's been going on for 2-3 years now. Scaffolding, I know, has been up for at least 3 years. So anyway, hey, listen, looks like we ran out of time. You know?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, when we're having fun, what the hell, you know? But if you're up for it, we'll see you again next week, right?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Stephen Kravitz, who may be back in movies, and then I can say I know a movie star. Talk to you later, Steve.
Bye, Alex.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 8th year of talk like you've never heard it before.
And that's our good friend Stephen Kravitz, and it's funny. Here's what I do. I shouldn't do it. Okay, I mentioned this I think yesterday. Then I love chicken skin. When I have chicken, I like the skin because I think the skin is the most delicious part of the chicken because it has the most savory taste of any part of the chicken, okay? So I sit there and I got to have a piece of, but the next day, I get the worst case of trots that you can possibly even imagine. And yesterday, when I did this thing with Steve, I said, you want to do another one? Because usually we do 2 at a time. And he said, sure. And I started doing it, and then halfway through, my stomach all of a sudden went, brrr, and I had to cancel the second interview. So we're doing another one next week. But, oh, man, I felt so bad about it. I said, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go. And then I came back. I said, I don't think I can continue this because I'm just, you know. So it's me and chicken skin. I love me chicken skin. You know, I try to figure out, is it worth getting the trots and eating the chicken skin? Because this chicken skin is something that I love, but it comes back to bite me in the tushy. Oh boy, it was so. So then I take the Imodium, right? So I figured out a new way I'm going to do it is like for Thanksgiving when we do turkey. I love turkey skin. Oh, that's the best. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll baste it with Imodium. So I get some little liquid Imodium, and we'll baste it, and that'll keep me from getting the trots. Does that make any kind of sense at all? No, of course not. Anyway, we got some people waiting to come on here. Why, I have no idea at all, but there they are. There's Jeff, and there's Charlie, and there's Brian, and they're all coming on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How did Brian turn his camera on and he's not there? Do you have an answer to that one for me? You know, it doesn't. I automatically admitted them. Well, wait a minute. But don't you then have to click something to go in?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Well, that's the reason why. Well, let's just wait for Brian, okay?
This is fun.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is getting fun.
Well, while we're waiting for Brian, we'll just let Alan come in as well. Let's see here. Here's Alan. We're waiting for Brian, in case you're wondering, Alan.
Nice.
No problem. Did you hear that Jack had problems again last night?
What?
Did you hear that Jack had problems with his show again last night?
When Jack has trouble with his show, I'm the first one to hear about it.
Sorry. Yeah, Charlie, myself, and Phil Meyer tried to get in and
Could not.
ring and ring and ring.
Well, that wasn't the problem. The problem was he couldn't get the show going out over the encoder, as it were.
Oh, yeah. It's just you on what's it called? YouTube.
Yeah. So I worked with him last night and we couldn't get it solved. So but we got it solved today.
You can start the show. I'm here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're waiting for you.
And Charlie said, but you didn't. He didn't hear him. It's only you on YouTube.
It's only me on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well,
so now they didn't even get to see my grand entrance.
Let's leave it that way.
Maybe I'll do it again.
Okay, there we are. No, I'm sorry, folks. I occasionally I do that, and the problem is because I look at the screen here and I see all you guys, and I'm not paying attention to what's going on over the internet. And today I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the same problem that I have every now and then of not putting you guys on. I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to pay attention to it up here. Nah, didn't. So I may have to change the way I've got this stuff apportioned on my screen or something. I don't know.
I have my pillow here.
Why do you have your pillow there?
Pinched nerve for like 2 weeks.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
Nerves are a different level than any sore bone, any hurt arm, whatever. Yeah.
Many years ago when I was working at Live 105, I pinched my nerve in my neck right back here. Is it like back here somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. All the way down to the tip.
It was excruciating.
Yep.
Okay? So immediately my business manager gets me to a doctor who can, manipulate it and stuff. And he gives me this stimulation thing and all of that, And I've got to go to Toronto. Oh, no, to Montreal for the Montreal Comedy Festival. Mm. And I don't know how I'm going to go, but he gets me fixed up enough that I can go. But then he also gives me real good painkillers. Okay.
Real good painkillers.
So now I'm in Montreal and I'm doing the radio show. And then as soon as I'm through with the radio show, I immediately go back to the hotel. And I spend the rest of the day there, only to come back the next day and do the show again, only to go back to the hotel room and lie down. And even lying on your back doesn't solve it most cases. Taking the drugs did. It helped a great deal. Okay? So now I'm doing my show a couple of months later. I've got some comedian. I can't remember who it was. He says, by the way, I really enjoyed being up there in Montreal with you on your show. And I looked at him and I went, you were on my show? I didn't remember any of it. The only thing I remembered is what I could hear on recordings of the show. Because I was just so looped. I mean, I had to have the painkillers.
Yeah.
It's terrible. That's the worst thing can happen is a pinched nerve. It's just an unrelenting pain.
What did they give you for it, Brian?
Just some painkiller stuff. It's like a Aleve, but it's like twice as strong. So, yeah.
Mark?
They asked me if I wanted to do therapy. They asked me all this other stuff, and I said no. Just give me the pain stuff. So,
yeah,
hot and cold up there tends to relax that area too.
I don't know if that's what he had me do. He just had me take the goddamn pills. And then I went back and got some more therapy, and eventually it went away. But I mean, while it existed, there was no way I could lie in bed without it hurting.
That's the second time in that first week. This is going the second week. The first week, I couldn't sleep. Can't sleep on it. Can't sleep with on the other side because then this thing is like up there and all the nerves are hitting. Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's really horrible. So, yeah, that's what we talk about on this show now. Is just old people stuff. How you doing, Jeff? Jeff's in pretty good shape, though. I mean, for a guy who had a stroke about 15 years ago, he's doing okay, right, Jeff? Jeff, are you alive?
He's muted.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You're muted.
Is he muted? Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's muted.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
But I could get it off. There were some noisy people around there that I had to put on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm alive. Thank you, guys.
Now, are you in Connecticut, or you've got to be?
Yeah.
Right, because
right now I'm in Connecticut. Yes, I am.
Because you're coming down to visit us on Tuesday.
That's right.
So
Yeah. Well, you got to find me a good Chinese restaurant.
A good Chinese restaurant?
Ask Tony.
There's no good Chinese restaurant where I live.
Well, there's not, I don't know. Is Chinese food that good, or is it highly overrated? Why do we buy it? Because it was probably the best food for takeout.
Yeah.
I mean, it travels well in takeout. Whereas if you order a steak, I'm sorry, you just don't get a steak. By the time it gets to you, it's fully cooked. It's really. No, because what happens is you cook a steak and then you put it in a thing to send it over, and while it's there, it keeps cooking. Okay? So by the time it gets to you, there's no such thing as a rare steak. So you can't do that. But Chinese food, that stuff, you can eat it a week later and it's still okay, But it's not the greatest food in the world, All right. Yeah.
I'll be flexible.
Yeah, you be flexible. Yeah, I'm glad that you're coming because then I'll have a chance to go outdoors.
Yeah.
I haven't been out in a week. It's been raining and it's been this and it's been that, and I just went out of hell with it.
Yeah, we were out all day.
Really?
And it was horrible. From rain, cold.
Well, tonight, before I came on the air here, we had lightning and thunder.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. It was rumbling real hard, So
we had a total of 9 storms this last month that went through.
Yes.
9 storms?
9 storms, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, last one was a couple days ago. Last night was like really light sprinkle, but now it's like sunny.
That has nothing to do with global warming, right?
Now it's sunny for 10 days.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with global warming. I hate these people who don't understand that is exactly what global warming is.
Yeah.
They say, well, gee, we had a really hot summer. Yeah, that's what global warming is. Global warming affects all kinds of things, All the fires you've had out there, global warming. Then followed by rain, followed by mudslides. Well, the mudslides aren't global warming. They are the culmination of global warming. So, But anyway, can we see faces? Oh, that was before. Let's see. Good evening, gentlemen, says Benita. Who's Benita?
Oh, Benita's from Livermore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's been on there lately.
Yeah, you look at the what do we call it? The chat room. The chat room.
Yeah, Charlie and I keep everybody in line in the chat.
I wish I could do the show and pay attention to the chat room at the same time, but I can't. So anyway, let's see. I don't think the chat is red. It is red, but only in Anchorage. What? The waiting room. Don't see the movie Babylon. It's horrible. Oh, hey, who said that? John Redshaw. Thank you, John, because we just got through about 5 hours ago watching Babylon. Because it was one of the films I got as a screener for my SAG Awards voting. Okay? And it is a horrible movie.
Really?
Just terrible. Just terrible.
My kind of movie.
It has about a 20-minute segment that isn't half bad. And then it gets bad again. Plus, the guy had no idea what really went on in Hollywood. He had everything wrong. So it's a terrible movie. However, I told you last night, didn't I, that I saw The Whale. We watched The Whale. And it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. I mean, the performance by what's his name, Brendan Fraser, is maybe better than the movie as a whole. Okay, but it is still a very good movie, and his performance, as I said last night, we may as well not hold the Academy Awards. Just give it to him. He was that good. And not because he played a 700-pound guy, but because there was so much nuance and stuff to his performance. It was really terrific.
What other movies did you see from your
well, that's all we've watched. So, we watched the last hour of Avatar.
Oh.
Another waste of my time.
You don't have too many hours left, Geez, why are you sucking up with all these...
Do you have to remind me of that? You know.
I thought that one, the one, Everywhere, Everyone, All at Once, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty
Marjorie
crazy.
didn't particularly care for it. I liked it. You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go watch it again because it's so layered.
Yeah.
You really, once you know what it's about, you go back and watch it. Maybe you'll understand what's going on. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's a pretty heavy contender for an Academy Award. You know.
Yeah, they won. She won the Best Actress, and then Best Supporting Actor, and then I think Jamie Lee Curtis was nominated, right?
Yeah, I was so happy to see Michelle Yeoh
Yeah.
get some recognition for this because she's been one of my favorite actresses over the years. I remember when I used to watch her in Chinese films, Asian films, where she was the female Jackie Chan. She did all her own stunts and everything. She was incredible. And yet now, you know, instead of just being a person who does stunts, she's also being lauded for being a great actress. And I think that's wonderful. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah. I think that the actor also was. He was a stunt coordinator or something like that, too.
Who?
The gentleman who won the Best Supporting Actor. Yeah, they just showed him in a clip doing some stunt instruction stuff. So
Really? What
Yeah.
film? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
You're talking about
I'll-
Everywhere, Everything at Once, All at Once thing?
Yeah, the guy who won the Best Supporting Actor.
Well, the guy who played her husband, you know who that was?
No.
Do you remember Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the boy. Yeah, that was the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause he talked about that in his speech.
Yeah. Wonderful to see him get a comeback like that. It only took him how many years to make another movie? Or he made one more movie. He made The Goonies,
Oh.
and that was it. You know. So, anyway, you know, it's some. So we've got a whole bunch of films. So Marjorie wants to watch Women Talking, which is supposedly very good. And there's one other film that we want to watch. We want to watch this British film. What's it called? With Bill Nighy. And it's supposedly very good. So we got a bunch of them to watch. A lot of times when we get them now, we've already seen them because they've been on Netflix or whatever, you know, and they aren't up for TV show. They're up for movie. So you know, but I watched the Banshees of Inisherin, which is very good. You know, wonderful film. So you know, I've been some good movies this year. Some pretty good stuff, you know. So anyway. So anybody have anything they want to talk about? Come on, Charlie, start the conversation. What do you want to talk about, Charlie?
What about the 60 Minutes? Did you watch the 60 Minutes?
The one about the nuclear fusion?
Yeah. What'd you think about that?
Oh, I thought it was very interesting.
No, you mean about the tip of this thing? It's like hotter and brighter than the sun.
Yeah, the first time they ever got more energy out from nuclear fusion than they put in.
So, in other words, this may be the chance for a new kind of energy, right? I mean,
and the way they're doing it with lasers, it doesn't have any kind of radioactive waste fallout. Nothing like that.
But we're still a long way away from it being a source of power, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beginning. This is not what we used to refer to as the holy grail of cold fusion, is it?
No, it's not cold at all. It's over 20 million degrees when the laser hits.
No. Now, what was cold fusion?
That was supposed to be fusion taking place at room temperature, basically.
Yeah, but it never happened, did it?
No, that was a hoax or whatever when they were claiming that.
Yeah, but
20 years ago.
now explain to people what this is that we saw in 60 Minutes. It's basically they're creating fusion, right? They're creating fission.
They have a little tiny pod filled with hydrogen, and they blast it with this incredibly powerful laser. It's like, actually, there's more than one laser. There's a bunch of lasers, and they're all like longer than a football field, and they charge and they blast it so quickly and so intensely that the temperature gets raised to over 20 million degrees and the hydrogen atoms fuse.
Well, That's the thing. Is that, yeah, what?
The best part is that there's no way it can melt down because you turn off the laser and it's off immediately. It's not like nuclear fission where the thing is heated and it keeps giving off heat for weeks or months.
In other words, you just click the switch and it's off.
And the lasers are off and the power shuts down. So there's no way it can melt down.
What if you keep it on too long though? Like you don't turn it off.
You would have sensors and stuff. You would detect whether or not something bad was happening, and you would have shut-off switches, and it would shut off immediately.
Shut off the lasers, right?
Right.
Well, what's the worst kind of accident that could happen with this? Or couldn't an accident happen with this? Is that what it's good about for?
Well, I mean, it's harder to see how you could have an accident with it, but I mean, I suppose something could happen to redirect the laser someplace it's not supposed to go and cause some damage, but
they could
nothing
test
like
that.
what would happen when the nuclear plant melts down.
They could test that, redirecting the laser over to Mar-a-Lago and see what happens.
What if it gets into the
Aren't you happy now that your college education was able to be put to good use just now?
Yep. Been years.
Yeah.
Been years.
Well, your degree is in nuclear physics, right?
Well, astrophysics.
Astrophysics.
So I had to study nuclear physics for 2 years.
So you know nuclear physics too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody in life, their college comes in handy at the most unexpected time.
Yeah.
I mean, mine happened because I have a degree in microbiology, and I was going to go into medicine, but never did.
Until COVID.
When COVID came out, all of a sudden, a little light bulb went on in my head, and and things were starting to tick away again. So
yeah, no, I used to tell my friends about our company, about how we test DNA. We split the DNA and we use primers and probes to glue it back together millions of times to try to detect it for any disease. And all this blah, 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 and the flu and all this stuff. And nobody listened to me. Now, after COVID, everybody was like, hey, aren't you guys doing that thing, testing and stuff? I said, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
all of a sudden, when they're worried about dying, they'll listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you say,
give me a test?
you say you'll always get around to using your college education. And I never did because I didn't finish college. So, that's the story.
Yeah, but you're a smart guy, so,
Experience is a lot.
Well, I'm inquisitive. I've always been interested in things. Yeah, I've always been. And I tell people, there are those people who go to college and, when they get out of it, I say, did you learn anything? Because they just learned how to give the answers that the system wanted to hear back at them, and that was it, But, do you have any ability at asking, really I'm saying that an educated person doesn't know how to give the right answer. He knows how to ask the right question. And if you know how to ask the right question.
You're not talking about the Republicans again, are you?
No, why do you always have to bring that up? It's,
because they're going to screw things up unless they
Let's pretend on this show that the Republicans don't exist.
And Phil, too.
Yeah, really.
I mean, boy, there are people who just hate Phil. God, I get things on my Facebook page. Hey, got one yesterday. Let me see if I can read it to you. Just really, go, wow. It says, is it possible to stick a cork in Phil? After his 30-minute segment every Wednesday has elapsed, once the Gabnet panel discussion begins, Phil tends to take over the rest of the show, pretty much ruining the remainder of the program. Since he's the bête noire of Gabnet podcast, I'm sure the vast majority of your viewers would much rather listen to Jeff, Charlie, Kevin, Brian, Tony, Paula, 11, or even Alan. Alan's jokes may make you sick to your stomach, but they won't make you projectile vomit as Phil does. Besides that, he's running up my liquor bill with all the extra drinks I'm consuming while he's on.
Great.
That's great. Somebody's actually hated more than me. How about that?
The president of the Phil fan club. Yeah, yeah.
Phil's so lucky.
Huh?
Phil's so lucky.
Why is he so lucky?
He has his own fans.
He has his own fans.
Yeah.
Well, I get
Alan had fans for a while. What happened to those guys?
Yeah.
Come on, write in more bad stuff about Alan. Come on.
I only get a couple of nasty things about Alan, you know. And I don't get any. You know who gets the worst mail here?
Jeff.
Jeff. Yeah.
Really?
Nobody likes Jeff. I mean, it's just a.
Oh, you're joking.
You're
Just
full of it.
kidding, Jeff. Of course,
I
I'm
know.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I can handle it.
Jeff protects me when somebody writes something nasty. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, I
Us
mean,
Jews stick together, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. See, he's got to make a Jew comment. He's got to make a Mar-a-Lago comment, and it's like a quota every night at least.
yeah.
That's right.
We're gonna have
All
a
right.
new drinking game.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Or today, finally, Biden said something about the papers.
Mm.
You
Oh,
know,
what do you say?
well, he just said that my lawyers are taking care of it, and as soon as we saw that we had them, we turned them in. And I'll wait to see, as he said, I'll wait to see what the people come up with what the people they've gotten to look into this thing say. But that he said that's all. Nothing much happened there. There's no, as he put it, there is no there. Or that.
Smart. Smart answer.
The first story I heard was that they're going through the boxes, and the lawyers saw that, and they closed the box and they started making calls. So,
Well, that was a smart thing to do. And sometimes, sometimes when these things get packed up and a person leaves office, they pack some things up they shouldn't pack up. It's being left to normal office people, not, the president doesn't go, oh, I want to take that and I want to take that and let's take that. But we do know that the amount that Trump took seems to indicate that he had plans for those papers,
right.
and that he had something he wanted to do with them, like sell them to Russia,
Mm.
He's probably just given to him. He's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, he should have said, here's the things I'm going to take. A letter from Kim Jong-un, this, blah, 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 that, this, that, and the other thing. And a lot of times, and I don't know, Josh isn't here tonight, and usually he's good at explaining this sort of thing. But it's my way of thinking that when you leave, if you give all the stuff to the archives, and then if, let's say, you're opening up the Joe Biden presidential library, you can ask for that stuff, and they can apportion it out as they believe you should get it. Whether it's some of it's too dicey for prime time. And so they do that, so that if what Trump felt he was doing, I want to save it for my my library. Although, has anybody heard about him starting a presidential library?
You have to be able to read first.
Well, I mean, yeah, and Fun with Dick and Jane is not a good book. Okay, so,
He can't even pick his wife out in a picture. Ex-wife.
yeah.
And the news is this lady that's suing him for rape in New York, and he says she's not my type, and then they got a picture of her and Marla Maples there, and he picks her out over his ex-wife. Jesus.
Well, that's his MO. He always says, "I didn't know that person," and then you see pictures of.
Well,
it.
she's not my type. Yeah, not today.
Yeah, not my type.
Today she has a few years on her, but maybe at the time. Of course,
Right.
what's his type? I think it was anything with a pulse, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Anything he
Absolutely.
could grab.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
And all this stuff we wouldn't know if he never ran for president.
well, the reason I hate you bringing him up
Yeah.
Yes.
is I'd like to forget him.
Oh.
I really would.
Good choice.
I brought up the Republicans. I didn't bring up Trump.
I mean, there are lessons to be learned from his presidency, but since people never learn that lesson, far be
I'll
it from
try not to bring up Trump anymore.
Well, I mean, it's just, he still is monopolizing the news. I mean, less so now, finally.
You're validating my point.
Yeah.
If you don't want me to talk about them, don't add into it the reasons why we should.
Well, I think the reason we got him as president of the United States is because nobody could shut up about him. The news outfits couldn't shut up about him, and they made him president of the United States.
I don't think he planned to be president when he started running.
I don't think I think he did it for the money. Now you say, well, what do you mean you're doing it for the money? If you raise a certain amount of money and then you don't spend a lot of that money, you get to keep it.
Really?
Most candidates will turn it over to their political party for future campaigns, but you can keep it. It's yours. And so he was looking at it, I think, as a way to make a buck.
Yeah.
And then when he won, it was kind of like, it was kind of like the movie, the Broadway play or the movie The Producers, Where Did We Go Wrong? Where did we go right, rather? We did everything to make sure we wouldn't get elected. I grabbed her by the pussy. He'll never get elected with that. He made every mistake you could make, and he still got elected. What's that about?
The Republicans' MO. Look at McCarthy. How many votes it took to get the idiot in?
Oh well, he just wasn't going to give up. He just stuck with it, and eventually they were getting worn out.
You had somebody you interviewed on the show a couple weeks ago when this was going on, and said, "How many times do you go?" And the guy says, 3 strikes and you're out. The guy from what's his name that now lives in the Philippines.
Rob. Well, no, I asked him because he didn't know what was going on, and I said to him, "Let's say you were going out for Speaker of the House, and they took a vote, and they didn't vote for you."
Right.
And then they took another vote, and they didn't vote for you. And then they took another vote, and they didn't vote for you. What would you do after the third try? And he said, I'd probably just say, for the good of the party, I'm out of here. And I said, well, guess what? It's now up to 14 or whatever it was at that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
The trouble is that now he wants things as Speaker, and he's holding up the budget.
Aren't they putting this Santos on a committee?
Are they? Committees. Oh God, I haven't heard.
2 committees?
Yep.
What are they?
One of them was a small business. Something had
ethics.
Oversaw.
Someone putting money ethics.
He's in the ethics
Pam's on top of
plan.
it.
Yeah,
Pam.
ethics, yeah.
You're on fire.
You like that?
Well, he should be on the ethics committee because he knows more about how to breach ethics than anybody I know.
He knows more about business fraud too, so he's really good for that committee.
Well,
There's the thing lately. He said that his mother died in the tower at 9/11.
Yep.
And I think New York.
No, he didn't say she died. He didn't say she died in the tower in 9/11. That she was in the tower on 9/11.
And now it's been proven she wasn't even in the country.
She wasn't even in the country. It's also
this guy's a real winner. He'll probably run for president in 2024.
Yeah. I'll be surprised when I won't be surprised when I find out he's not really gay. There were all these lies, just one on top of another. What?
I'll read this again. High school. He lied on his high school resume, college resume. He lied that he worked at Goldman Sachs and Citicorp. 9/11 claimed his mother's life.
Yeah.
Mother fled socialism in Europe.
Okay.
Grandparents survived the Holocaust.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Lost employees at Pulse nightclub shooting. That was the shooting at the.
He lost what at Pulse nightclub shooting?
He lost employees. His employees died at Pulse nightclub in Orlando.
What? They went all the way to Orlando to go to a gay club?
Had nonprofit pet charity, and claimed to be Jewish.
Oh, he also wrote bad checks in Brazil or somewhere where he was living for a while. And
I mean, it's not like the Holocaust or something. There's not like one event. It's like he just went and got all the big events the last 50 years and just checked them off.
But what you don't understand is he is the perfect Republican.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. That's their MO.
And I mean, it's so amazing to me the way, what's his name, the Speaker of the House, McCarthy, said, oh, well, you know, his people elected him. And I tend to agree with McCarthy. I think he should stay there, and he should be representing his people back in New York. They deserve him because they voted for him. And it's only a small group of people. It's just one congressional district. Let them have to sit there and live with this. Yes, Charlie.
I think they have to.
Yeah, they didn't really elect him. They elected who they thought he was based on his lies.
Well, that shows how gullible they are.
If Trump is allowed to run in 2024, I can't think of a better vice president.
I was going to say that, yes.
At this rate, you see, you mentioned Trump again. There you go.
Sorry.
He can't help himself.
He can't help himself. No, but the thing is, Trump is not going to be running for president again.
That I hope you're right.
He's just saying he is to try and raise money that he doesn't have to give back. It's the only thing he's got going.
Oh,
you know.
boy, I hope you're right.
I mean, I don't know if I'll live long enough, but within the next couple of years, bankruptcy, you know. So, what the hell, you know? We lost our signal for a second here. It just said, yeah. It said we were disconnected, and then we were reconnected. So
that was the nerve in Brian's neck reconnecting.
Really? How's the nerve doing right now? You all drugged up?
On the pillow, it's okay. Yeah, and I got to drive to Lodi tomorrow morning.
Oh, boy.
You're able to drive like that?
Yeah, I had a pillow last a couple days ago. I went, but there's a big project I need to finish up. So, yeah, so I just have my pillow in there, and yeah.
Yeah, they probably look at you as the old man in the office, huh?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay?
I am compared to everybody else.
That's all right. Don't call me an old man, or I'll fire you. Yeah, it's a good one, huh?
Well, I take these interns from like Stanford, and I took a group a couple months ago, and I said, yeah, I've been at this company for almost 19 years now, and the kids are looking at me. These kids are barely 19 years old.
So anyway,
boy, they must have really thought you were old.
I saw something in back of Jeff, and I thought it was a cat for a moment, and it's actually his wife Pamela.
Yeah.
She was doing some work. Yeah, there she is.
Waving.
See?
I went way back.
Yeah. What else is happening in the news?
Can I just real quick?
Yeah.
Somebody, a friend from the show who listens all the time, he's asking me about Durst, if you've heard from Durst lately.
You know, I try to get a hold of Durst. Every now and then I'm sitting here, I go, I'll just FaceTime him, see if I can get him. And I never can get him. He never picks up. So I know he's okay.
Yeah.
You know, but he's still in the hospital. And he gets out occasionally to do these things with Willie Brown to kind of raise money for himself.
Oh, really?
But outside of that, he's still in the hospital. He's still in the nursing home, basically. Yeah.
I thought his wife said that they were getting him out or something like that a while back on the show.
No, they were hoping they would, but they haven't yet.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a rough go. Ask Jeff here. Jeff's been there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Hey, I only had a year that I was in therapy.
Yeah, he only had a year in therapy. Will's been 3 years now.
Yeah, 3 years.
You know.
Right.
And so I try and call him every now and then. I might try him again tomorrow. But you know, I'd like to talk to him and see how he's doing. And you know, I mean, I feel so. I always felt really bad about that. You know,
life isn't fair.
No, life isn't fair. Well,
yeah, I agree with that.
So I heard something that was very interesting in a certain way. And that is a bunch of people are working on a way to use 3D CAD system to build houses automatically. In other words, you don't have to buy the conventional materials. And
when you say CAD, it was a thing that they used to design architecture and so on.
Yeah.
But
Engineering and-
and they're computer programs. But
Right.
aren't you thinking maybe more of 3D printing?
Yeah, yeah, you can call it that.
Yeah.
They're using some kind of combination material, and they have a big injecting uh, equipment, and they squirt out all of this uh, multiple material, and then they shape it around and create a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Really? Now, what are they using, Charlie? 3D printing?
I don't know exactly. They're using 3D printers, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they're
material
claiming.
Because I saw where a while back they were looking into using 3D printing to make body parts.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that would be
Or
okay.
prosthesis.
Yeah.
What did Pamela say?
Like prostheses, like
Yeah.
for hand.
Your hands and things like that. Yeah. But I mean, you know, there's no telling what they can do with a lot of the science that they have. Only thing is, I brought up this question once before. Why didn't we invent this in 1700? What is the evolution of life such that we only make these incremental changes that somehow, I mean, let's put it this way, all the components you have in a television set, right, existed on this planet in the 1700s, all right? Would you agree with that? We didn't know how to piece them together to make them do something, but it was all there. Why is it that we couldn't do a lot of this stuff early on in the history of man? Why is it only now that we've come to this point, you know?
Baby steps.
Baby steps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with science, same thing with medicine. It takes time.
They didn't even know what electricity was in 1700.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that, you know, I mean, but didn't people like walk across a rug and get static electricity?
Probably.
Yeah.
So didn't somebody say, hey, you know, we could turn that into something that would do this?
And Franklin did that in the 1700s.
That's the smart guy.
Well,
That's the creative brain.
yeah. Well, you know, I mean, like all of a sudden Newton's a big guy because he realized that there was a thing called gravity.
Mhm.
But today, he'd probably just be considered an average guy.
I don't know.
I mean, could Newton keep up with what's going on today? I don't know if he could. You know.
It's like how many people give credit to Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing right now is based on him. Electricity, alternating current. He did a lot.
Yeah, but the only thing I didn't like about him is he named himself after a car, and I thought that was, you know, that was wrong. That was just
there you
wrong. You know.
Yeah. It just, somebody the other day said to me, all those DC motors on Teslas work really good at driving the wheels. I said, they're not DC motors, they're AC motors. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. The car's battery powered. Yeah, but they convert it to alternating current.
Do they really? Okay.
Why would they call it Tesla? Why wouldn't they call it something different?
No, but Tesla came up. Oh yeah, Tesla came up with alternating current. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could have called it Edsel.
Well, the thing
Yeah, really.
was, he started out working for Edison, and he tried to sell Edison on alternating current, on this concept of alternating current, and Edison didn't want any part of it. His whole thing was direct current, and he was going to, you know, the only problem with direct current was if you build a power station, you could only go like 10 miles with direct current, where you could go 100 miles with alternating current. So
That was the feature, because then you could have power stations all over the place and make tons of money.
so that's the reason why Edison didn't want it? Yeah.
I'm sure it was something like
The
that.
thickness of the cable to handle, say, 1,000 volts of electricity in direct current in DC is many, many more times thick. You know, many, many more times. You know, to make it in and to carry that same amount of voltage that alternating current. I mean, alternating current, as it works out, thanks to Tesla, is really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the point was that he finally had to leave Edison to go alternating current, which
the motors that we use today, garbage disposals, all of them, induction motors.
Yeah.
Tesla invented them. They all work on alternating current.
Yeah, yeah. So he went and I can't remember who backed him. I think Westinghouse backed him.
Yep.
And he went ahead with the alternating current, and it became the standard. And you know,
the interesting thing is Westinghouse almost went broke, and they owed Tesla millions of dollars in stocks and stuff. And in order to keep the company alive, Tesla gave away his stock options and everything, and died a poor man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been much richer.
Well, he was a man of great vision.
Absolutely.
Just like the man who invented television, who never got credit for it.
Yeah.
In fact, his old office is in San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah. What was his name?
Alex Bennett? No.
No. Does anybody remember the name? Television, invented by. I used to have the name. See, my brain doesn't function like it used to. Who invented television? Who invented television? You know something? By the time I even bring
Marconi.
No.
He was able to send the first signal across the globe, you know, some kind of wireless signal, you know, a radio signal, and got credit for it after he used 17 of Tesla's patents to make it happen.
Okay, here it is. Philo T. Farnsworth.
There you go.
You're kidding.
He came up, when he was a kid, when he was 16, he invented television when he was 16 years old. Well, here's how he invented it. He worked, his father owned a farm, and they would go out, and one day he was plowing the fields. And he noticed he would plow one trench, and then he'd turn around, plow the other trench, another trench, another trench. And he came up with the idea that maybe we could transmit pictures this way by just doing it in lines. And he came up with the first practical concept of how you do that. And but never, what happened with Sarnoff, David Sarnoff came along and stole it from him, basically. And because he had all the power of RCA behind him and everything like that, Philo T. Farnsworth was left by the side of the road. And a few years ago, they came back and they awarded Philo T. Farnsworth the credit for having invented television. But, you know, another case of you know, like Nikola Tesla, you know. What happened to Charlie? Where's Charlie?
I don't know. I just sent him a text. We lost you. I don't know if his internet went down. Weather's okay in
Texas. Yeah. Deep in the heart of. Yeah.
It was 86 yesterday or something like that.
But anyway, you know, so otherwise I haven't been going out at all, and I get very tired. I get up, I'm dizzy, and I'm lying down too much, and I got to get out. But then if I go out, where do I go? Where is there to see?
So a lot of, you know, when you're dizzy, a lot of times if they can't find a problem, hydration is important, and getting up slowly is important, because a lot of pills that we take, us older folks, can cause dizziness, and your body doesn't metabolize drugs and other things as well the older you get.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, my friend Shecky was taking all these pills, and one day he decided not to take them anymore. Just stop taking all his pills. I've been thinking about doing the same thing myself, because I'm wondering how much good they really do me. You know? Yeah, I mean, they keep my my cholesterol down. Huh?
Why don't you ask your doctor?
Oh, my doctor will say keep taking them, because giving you pills is the easiest way to solve your problem. You know, instead of saying, hey, eat better, eat healthier, they say, here, this will help you with your cholesterol. Well, maybe eating better would clear up the cholesterol, but that means you're going to have to do some work, and you don't want to hear that, so give me the goddamn pill, and my cholesterol will be super for the rest of my life. you know, I don't know that pills are the answer. You know, I mean, I got to, was taking one pill. I think it was a cholesterol pill. And before I knew it, I'm taking 7 pills a day now.
Think about in the 1700s, where you brought up earlier, without pills and modern medicine, people didn't live very long. 30, 40 years was a long life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know. Instead, I'm living to be 83 and every bone in my body aches. If I died at 40, I wouldn't feel this way. You know? So, anyway.
I'll bring you my list of exercise that you should do for yourself.
Exercise?
Yeah, there you go. Jeff, get them out when you go.
You actually do the exercise?
Well, I think one of my problems with the dizziness, I have a thing called vertigo. Positional vertigo.
Positional.
Yeah. And what it is really, folks, is just that your inner ear has all these crystals and they come loose and then they wobble around and you are lightheaded when you get up and walk around. You know?
Yeah, surgery, they can get in there and clear those crystals out.
Yeah. What did Pamela say?
Went to therapy. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, my son had it.
yeah. David had that, and they put him on. I don't know. They did some kind of a PT thing where they put him on this rack and like turn him upside down.
Oh, good. Yeah, really, I want that. That's going to make me.
No, but
dizzy.
it got him. He got better.
Well, no. The thing is that I know those exercises, and they went away for a while. I wasn't feeling lightheaded. Now I am again. So I probably got to do the exercises again.
Therapy,
But what it is you get this people. You get these little crystals that come loose that are in your ear, and they float around the ear canal and they throw you off balance. So now what you got to do is you got to lie there and you got to go like this and then you got to go like that, you know, and get them so they will go back into place. But you have to keep doing that every day. And I did it for a while and it did start to go away, but now it's come back again. So
Jeff's son, he went, I think, like 3 or 4 times. He went to like a therapist, and then it was better.
Yeah. Well, my doctor has given me
the exercises, but I think they did something a little more.
Yeah, my doctor's told me to go talk to these therapists to do that. You know, but he did test me, and I do have positional vertigo. You know, because what happens, they do something with your eyes, and if your eyes twitch, it indicates that you have positional vertigo. So, but these are all things. You know, these are all men stuff. You know, I'm 83. If that's all that's,
I don't know if their son wasn't that old.
Yeah.
No, David was
In his 50s.
50s at the time.
Yeah, and today I had bad breathing problems, and then I looked. I have this. I have an air purifier, and it has a light on it that's usually blue, but it can go green and it can go yellow, and then it goes red if it's really having to work at purifying the air. It was red for hours, literally for hours, and my breathing was labored somewhat.
Is there a filter in there or anything?
Yeah, there's a filter in there, but I mean, it, and then all of a sudden it got better and it went back to blue. But there was something in the air in this apartment house, just terrible. And,
well, aren't they working on the outside of the building?
Yeah.
I think that whatever's driving you nuts was developed in the 1700s.
What?
I said whatever's driving you nuts, whatever's causing these problems. Cement was developed in the 1900s, and they're 1700s, whatever. I'm trying to make a joke out of this.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're not. Yeah, when you get when you get perfected, call us again and let me know what it is. Okay.
Didn't work.
You know, if you have to explain them, it's not worth telling. It's my old axiom. But anyway, so you know, I mean, but I think I'm taking too many pills. I don't like taking 7 pills every night before I go to bed. Why? You know. And my doctor never sits down with me and goes, "What are we taking now?" Oh, well, you don't need that one anymore, and you don't need that one anymore, and you don't need that one anymore.
Why don't you
Hey,
ask
that
them?
doctor wants me to take more pills.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I have
Why don't
one.
you ask them what ones you can get away with that won't be life-threatening for for you.
Yeah.
Well, none of them are life-threatening. I mean, if I stopped taking them, you're saying which ones
Right.
would be life-threatening if I
Right.
weren't taking them.
And the ones that aren't, then maybe
Well,
you can
you
get
know,
off
I mean, they're
those.
going to tell you that, for instance, cholesterol pills are really a godsend in a way, the statins.
Absolutely.
I had a doctor who said, you know, if he had a kid these days, he'd start giving the kid statins at 8, you know, that they can keep your heart from going bad on you.
Well, they keep the cholesterol that builds up in your blood veins under
Yeah.
control.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think I have any cholesterol problems, but, you know, my cholesterol's fine. One time it shot way up, and all of a sudden I realized that I had mistakenly not taken the pill for a month. And I went to the doctor, I had my doctor's appointment, and all of a sudden he said, man, your cholesterol went crazy, and you're taking the cholesterol medicine. And I
You're
thought
like,
about
yeah,
it.
right. And you go, got it.
I thought about it, and I went, you know something? I think I forgot to take it that month. You know, I mean, I lay out all the pills and everything, and I forgot to place that one in there. So my cholesterol immediately jumped. So that's what happens when you don't take your cholesterol medicine. But that stuff's pretty good because that has saved lives, you know? So,
So do blood pressure medicine.
yeah. Do you take blood? You must take blood pressure medicine.
Yeah,
I'd probably be dead if I hadn't taken
Right.
blood pressure medicine.
I take blood pressure medicine and I take a statin, Lipitor.
Lipitor? Yeah. I take rovastatin.
It's not
Lipitor
starts with an A.
Lipitor did not affect me nicely.
Really?
Yeah, I had negative effects to it. So,
wow.
you know, so I got my little pill, my little rovastatin, you know, and I take my Cialis every day to help me to pee because of my, you know, those problems. And I don't know what else is there. I guess. You know,
guys are so-
there are 6 or 7 pills that I take, and then I add to that vitamin E and vitamin C and a bunch of other vitamins that I take too. So
14 pills every day.
you 14 pills for you?
Yeah.
Are those all prescription or does that include like vitamins and stuff?
Well, one of the pills is vitamins.
Oh, one.
So 13 prescription drugs.
Well, because you got all that problem with diabetes too.
Diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis.
Welcome to our new show
arthritis,
called "What's Wrong with You." Yeah, yeah,
high blood pressure.
Who's got the most pills?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
It's a science.
I found the cheap way to buy them. Costco. Boom. Yeah, very cheap. Anyway, there's the music. And Jack hopefully will get a show on the air tonight. I'm hoping. I really am hoping because I've worked very hard at this. Okay, I was on the line with him for about an hour today, testing this whole thing to make sure it would work. It's a new piece of equipment he installed that wasn't working right last night. Anyway, hey guys, good talking to you. Hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow night. Jeff, good talking to you.
Yeah.
Charlie, good talking to you. Alex, good talking to you. Well, thank you. Brian, good talking to you. And Alan, good talking to you. Everybody give a big wave goodbye. And I will give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go, folks. That's our citizen panel. Yes. Okay. So, what does it all amount to, folks? What have we proved tonight? Nothing in particular. Have we solved any world problems? Nah, we haven't done any of that. But we had a nice time just kind of talking and chatting, and it seems like you people enjoyed joining us and turning us on as well and enjoying our little talk. We'll see you again. When is it? Tomorrow night, last show of the week, our Friday night special. And Jack Bishop is next. He'll be here with The Intersection. Okay? He'll be here with The Intersection, and he'll be taking your calls on Skype at GabNet Live. In the meantime, I will see you all again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.